to the KeyedIn podcast with James and Dan. I'm James.
And I'm Dan.
Hey, welcome. You might be sitting at home wondering what this podcast is all about, but we're here from KeyBridge Interactive. This is our official podcast, and we'll be talking about all things edutech. But this is a special episode. It's our first episode, so we'll be talking about kind of all things KeyBridge today.
Absolutely. So James, how about we start with you? Who are you?
I'm James. I'm an instructional developer here at KeyBridge, and that's a fancy word for writer.
You do more than that. What else do you do?
I host podcasts and I go on media gathers, and I just kind of learn all things that I need to. I'm a teacher, I guess. We're kind of like
That's right.
Futuristic teacher. That's what we do here.
Futuristic teacher. I like that. We
Yeah.
should make shirts.
Yeah. I'll get our merchandising person on it. But yeah, I just mainly work on content, kind of just work with clients to see what they need taught and kind of just figure out the best way to teach it using the best tools available. Dan, what do you do?
Well, I mean, I want you to expand a little bit on your role, because I think you're cutting yourself a little short here, because you also you have to work with multimedia, you have to work with our programming group, and I think you do a lot on the back end as far as communication goes.
That's true. I
And
think
program management and project management and all that, right?
Yeah, this sounds like a peer review almost, but like usually during
But I'm like a reverse interview where I'm like
reverse interview for the public.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess like if you really want to know the ins and outs of my job, is from start to finish, it's like kind of just working with a client with specific material. Then I'll work with subject matter experts and artists and game designers and all sorts of people to kind of develop these like kind of almost like video games of anything that you would want taught. We can kind of make a big kind of package video game out of it.
That's right. And James is very good at his job.
Thank you.
Yeah. But and we'll get into more of, I guess, our backgrounds after this intro. But so officially my title is Director of Instructional Technologies. I've been with KeyBridge for the last almost 11 years now. I help support individuals like James in these development cycles. I work closely with business development and on that front. But really, I'm just passionate about developing these online experiences. Some of these are blended experiences. Some of them are teacher-led training, but just really passionate about how to make a instructional product that doesn't suck, right? If that was going to be something that I'd put on the box, that's what I'd want it to be. What is an instructional online product that doesn't suck? Because man, there's a lot of them out there that suck.
There are. I didn't even know that they existed until I started working here, and then I had to take some that we didn't make.
Yeah.
I'm like, why didn't we make this? This sucks.
Yeah. And to be fair, there are plenty of courses, especially in the early days, that I would have to do a second pass at, right? And a lot of that was through lack of knowledge, lack of experience, younger team, bad choices by me, all kinds of reasons. But the most important part is, like everyone, we have failures too. So what do we learn from those failures, and how do we make better products afterwards? All right, and some of this is just a relationship game with the client. And what do they want, and what is the subject that needs to be taught, and how can we teach it? And instead of teaching, having an experiential product where someone can work through this experience and have changed behavior.
Yeah.
So.
It's a lot of listening. I don't know how deep you want to get into this, if it's just a discussion.
Yeah, why not?
I think to be successful at this, there's a lot of listening involved, and it's a lot of listening to your clients, listening to what they need, kind of trying to be the best student to understand the material well enough to teach it. I think is also really important.
You're absolutely right. We were just talking about media gather and stuff like that, and going out and trying to understand what the need is for these courses. And a lot of that comes down to being able to teach it yourself. You're exactly right, right? And that's part of what's enjoyable about this job is that every one of these projects that we do is something a little bit different. And it's an opportunity for us to learn and grow personally, to learn and grow, not only just in our process and what we're doing, but also that particular subject area. And your point about listening is exactly right, because we can talk a lot, but unless we've truly listened to what the needs of the learner are, and the needs of the client and the vision of the client, if we don't do that, then it makes our job a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
And when we're trying to guess at some of those things, which we try not to do anymore.
Even outside of like the technical aspect of learning a subject, I think like the tonal aspect of every course I've ever worked on, there's a different tone. And if you're not conscious of that tone, you can totally mess up a project, and the client can totally be upset with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a good point. Tone, and we deal with some sensitive subjects, both soft skills and not only that, but like what type of learner, what age of a learner we're talking about, right? Our learner analysis, like who are we talking to? Are we talking to, younger kids who are open to, a more cartoony vibe? Or are we talking to like old guys like me who don't have any patience for that stuff and are like, hey, I really value my time above all else. So how can you deliver this to me in an effective way that really is precious and courteous of my time, while again still meeting the end goal, right? And we could build two different courses of the same subject, two different tones and approaches for two different learner ages, and we would have to do that, right? We need to do that, and that's what that's part of that our flexibility in being able to touch any of those learners.
Yeah, I think that's one of the challenges as a writer, just kind of understanding what the audience is and what they would appreciate more, to be honest. Like, I think the older generation could see some of the stuff I've produced for other classes and just be kind of felt like condescending almost.
Yeah.
So you got to kind of meet people where they're at.
Yeah.
And that's challenging because sometimes I'm writing lessons for people who might be smarter than me, to be honest. And like,
absolutely. Yeah.
They still need training too. And we still got to give them the best version of that.
And have practical knowledge and experience in that domain, whatever we're trying to do, right?
Yeah.
So, if you're talking about someone who's been in their field for 20 years and you're coming at them with a new instruction, and it's not in line with their sensibilities, then they're going to immediately turn that off, right?
Yeah. I want to take a moment to say, like, none of the lessons I write on my own. Like, they're all collaborative. So, like, I have, like, years of experience behind me telling me how to write or whatever. So I think that's one of the biggest things about this job is, like, I always thought of myself as a writer, but as Dan pointed out earlier, we're communicators and we work in a team. And at the end of the day, that's the main thing that you got to be good at with this job in particular is being able to communicate to your team and to communicate to your client and kind of just land in the same place together. Yeah.
And I think that's that's a really good point and really points to the environment, how to make an environment that's conducive for that kind of communication, right? And the environment that we've built over the years to facilitate that kind of communication, because communication is so hard. I mean, even sitting here and having this like fairly focused conversation with you, so, you look a little bit behind the scenes. James and I spent the last like 20 minutes just BSing about random subjects before we got on here to warm up.
Pop stars and toys from the 80s, all kinds of things.
Yeah. Do you all know that there's a G.I. Joe movie from the 80s? I did not know about that. I know about the Transformers one. Didn't know about the G.I. Joe one. I'm going to go check that out. But as far as our culture and that the environment that we try to foster at Keybridge to facilitate this communication really comes back to I truly believe in relationship building, and the people that we have are fortunate to have on this team. How do we continue to grow this culture and build relationships? Some of these are relationships I've had since the beginning. Shout out to Zach, because Zach and I started on the same day in 2015, as well as people who have, only been here, a couple of years. So how do we have those? How do we build those relationships with each other, and how do we build an environment to where we can first of all see each other as humans, and have some compassion and understanding, but still with the understanding that this is a business. It is we are under corporate law. We have to make money to continue to move forward. But how can we build this relationship, especially with everything being online now and working from home?
Yeah.
How do we continue to build these relationships so we can communicate effectively, and can collaborate efficiently in doing this at some points extraordinarily complex development. So James, I'd love to hear your perspective on kind of this culture and how it's evolved from like when you started here, right, to now. And you've been here for how long now?
4 years.
4 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think everything this company does is really intentional. Like, I think I've never been at a company who has like sets as many goals every month, like from a culture standpoint and like of a task oriented standpoint. Like, I think we're always trying to get better in little ways. And I think after COVID, I came in after COVID, so
Yeah.
everything was remote. And it was prior to this, I was working in like a factory basically, and in a factory, you're like next to somebody all day basically, and you're talking. That's how you make friends. That's how you see each other,
Yeah.
and grow. And coming to work remote, it was kind of challenging at first because you don't see anybody. There'd be like days where I wouldn't see anybody,
Yeah.
especially when you're getting onboarded.
I worried about that a lot.
Yeah.
I was like, these guys are not going to see, and women, these men and women are not going to see coworkers for day. And we came from, a little bit of backstory is like in May, whatever that was, or March 15th or April 15th, whenever that was. Maybe April 15th is tax day, so that's not right. Whatever the day was when everyone was like, work from home, and we grabbed all our stuff. It was like, we'll probably be back in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Whatever day that was.
It was the day that Thunder played the Jazz, and then Rudy Gobert shut down the NBA.
There you go. Whatever the heck day that was, that's 5 years ago. We all assumed that we were coming back, by summer at the very latest. Everyone has their COVID story. But once we started getting into that summer and we started thinking, hiring, needing to hire people, we really started having those conversations of what happens if this is permanent,
Yeah.
and how. And our culture was really, at the time, we thought, dependent on being in person.
Yeah.
Right? And a lot of it was. So anyway, I wanted to give a little bit of backstory. So then looking at now of how can we start incorporating remote people?
I think it's gotten better because I think when I first got here,
Yeah.
there was like a gap in the training. I think I missed my internet was slow and I was like missing all kinds of information.
Good luck, James.
Yeah, basically.
It's a miracle you're still here.
I remember like before I got this job, I had a friend who worked here and was like, I don't know if they're going to hire you. You seem like you might be overqualified. And then like 2 months into the job, I was just missing so much information. They're like, everybody's looking at me like I was stupid, basically. And
that makes me feel terrible.
No, not at all. Like I think there was just like there's a gap in my understanding of how this was work, and I think working remote was just kind of new for everybody.
Yeah, it was. We were still trying to figure it out.
Yeah,
you were one of those first group of hires, and we're like, I don't know, we're not going to see this person for days. How is this going to work?
It was rough.
And we had that's when we really started instituting the mentorship program, and we'd had mentors, in-person mentors, in the past, but we were slow to transition that. And a lot of it, I think, that was us shooting ourselves in the foot of not really realizing, and I don't think the world realized that this was going to be a long-term thing.
Yeah.
So we were just like, okay, well, this is just a temporary thing. And we kept saying that for months. And then when it became the reality of, oh man, I guess we really do need to put a lot of effort into thinking how this works remotely, permanently. That's when we're like, all right, we can't just hire people and cross our fingers.
Yeah.
And you're a testament to being persistent, because a lot of people would not have made it.
I think you guys got better as I got better. So I think it all goes back to communication and when we found where we were at together.
Yeah.
I think that's when everything started to grow. And then this wave survived. So the next wave that came in, we could
Darwinism. Okay.
The next
wave of sea turtles, they made it to the ocean.
The next wave of hires, I knew what they were going against, and
Yeah.
I kind of knew some shortfulls that I dealt with. So I was kind of more hey, do you need anything? Don't
Watch out for that seagull.
Don't just sit there.
Yeah, that's right. And those were also those early conversations. You were instrumental in some of those early conversations. I know that Kendall and Aaron were really working on that onboarding revamp and mentor system, and talking to you all, those newer hires of okay, where did we drop the ball? Because we know we dropped we weren't ignorant, and we knew we dropped the ball in multiple places. So where did we drop the ball, and how can we plug those holes? And I think now we have a much more robust. As a matter of fact, and just based on the last group of hires we've had, have been super successful.
Yeah.
Comparatively. And even, people who I think took this job on as a temporary job. I've had conversations with them afterwards, 2 years later, and they're like, "Oh yeah, this was just supposed to be a temporary thing, and now you all have made it too nice to leave."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember getting here and being like, I don't know if I could do this, and then I was just
yeah.
At some point, I clicked on.
I said that same thing. Yeah. About myself, not about you.
No, I totally understandable either way. But yeah, it's I think there was I didn't know what I was getting into when I jumped into this job, and then the deeper I get, it kind of feels like a mix of things I kind of envisioned I wanted to do in the future. It's kind of a production job almost.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a video game job, and it's kind of a writing job.
Yeah.
And I kind of like all these things, so I don't know.
I agree. I have a very similar experience. I kind of jumped into this thing, and I wasn't looking for a job at the time. I was, but Simon, the president, reached out, and I was in school getting my master's, and anyway, they reached out to see if I wanted a job, and I was like, no, but I need the experience to interview. So I go in an interview. And next thing I know, I accepted a job. So, and it was very overwhelming at the beginning, right? Extraordinarily overwhelming. And it was, drinking from a fire hose is overused, but it was very much like that. And it was very difficult at the beginning of this thing to understand how to be effective, what is needed, because it very much was a startup feel at the beginning. And there wasn't a lot of structure. And you talk about these incremental changes and that kind of structure. And I know that I need structure. I need these structured goals, and I need structured outcomes, and I need
outside of the way that this company runs, how it's evolved. I think the products that we produce now are light years beyond what they were when you started here. They're so pretty.
I agree.
They sound cool, and they're written well, and
they're gorgeous. I mean, I will always have my criticisms, because we're never done learning and evolving, right? There's always room for improvement. There will never be, there's no such thing as perfect. But in relative to where we were, I mean, I'm so proud of what this team has been able to do and put together. Every season is a new learning experience. Not only do they look better, more modern, they have more advanced systems, but but they're more educationally valid. They're more engaging.
Yeah.
They're better products for the learner. And if I can go back to, one of the things when I started here, so before I used to be a high school science teacher, and the last 3 years I taught, I was head of the department, science department chair. I taught physics, and I also ran detention on Fridays, which is a bane to me and
Did you
the
volunteer
students.
for that?
Yes, I did. It was from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. On a Friday.
Why'd you do that?
Well, no one else wanted to do it,
They pay
right?
you extra?
Yeah, I mean, yes, but not the. And I live in Norman, so I had to drive 5 o'clock traffic every Friday after that,
Yeah.
after detention. It was not worth it, whatever pittance I was paid. But um, uh, the other thing I volunteered for was summer school, and they needed one teacher as a supervisor um, for their credit recovery / summer school program. And what that entailed was the school had purchased this program. I don't know if I should say the name of the program. I won't say the name of the program, but this program that was from this bulk publisher, and it touted, these dozens of credit recovery courses, and everything from Spanish to advanced mathematics, everything in between. Every single subject was covered, which, and all of this was online learning, right? So my role was to make sure the kids are enrolled into the course that they're supposed to for their credit recovery, and then help them through any rough spots and be able to push them through the learner management system if they get stuck or anything weird happened. So what I found out in doing this was, first of all, who do you think the kids are who are signed up for this?
The kids that are in trouble.
Okay, kids are in trouble. Who else are for credit recovery?
Um, the kids who've had like misfortune happen and they can't.
Yeah,
Uh,
right. Or the kids who have learning disabilities,
yeah.
right? Or just like like you said, they had trouble at home. They had too many absences, right?
Yeah.
This is a charter school, also inner city. It was a Title I school, so it was low socioeconomic, high poverty rate. So the kids who were in this credit recovery were not we're not your A, B, or even C students, right? These are or they could be if it weren't for
Circumstance.
their circumstances, right? Or they didn't have the support they needed for their learning disability, or whether that was undiagnosed or not, right? The kids who were diagnosed, they were on 504s and all of that,
Yeah.
and they had those support systems. But a lot of these kids go undiagnosed or just didn't have the infrastructure either at home or in school, or hadn't learned systems of learning, right? And so they were already at a disadvantage. So then they're put in front of this computer program and expected to self-learn how to self-teach themselves how to learn a course that they've already failed. And this computer program is supposed to teach them, right? And every one of those courses was read these pages of text and then apply your knowledge. Also, you can imagine that the majority of these children were either at a low reading level or had fairly low reading comprehension ability. Pardon me. So, so you've set them up for failure once again
Yeah.
in another environment, right? But now I'm put in this impossible situation where I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to try to help each one of you, and I'm trying to teach them, each one of them their different subjects, and I would just go revolve around the room every morning, because it was like from 9 to noon every day. or Monday through Friday. And I would just just facilitate around the room of like, okay, where are you stuck? Let's work through this. And not only that, but it found that there were blatant errors in the content.
Yeah.
Also in the assessments, the questions were wrong, or questions didn't make sense, or there were typos.
Yeah. So there's no way they can.
So yeah, I mean, it was just like at every step they were getting screwed. And that's when, and this is before I knew that this was a whole industry, or that I would be, find myself, whatever it was, 4 years later, in the driver's seat of being able to develop this stuff.
Yeah.
But once I got here, that was my number one goal: is to not develop content, this online content, that automatically put the learner at a disadvantage and set up for failure. So how can we develop courseware that is engaging, that is easy to understand, flow and content, and is fair, right?
Yeah.
And if we can use those as our metrics, and then be able to build out future things like we have had now, like gamification elements, and really focus on visual design, text-based design, so it is pleasing to the eye, right, as well, and it's easy to process. And then really focus into some of our like motivation theory concepts of like, all right, we want all of this to be context specific, right? We want it to be job related. We don't want this just to be rote memorizations, because who cares?
Yeah.
We want it to be automatically relatable to what you're learning in this course. You can be able to take and apply in your job tomorrow if you're forced to do this, right?
Yeah.
And if we use those metrics, then we're able to really define our products, right? And be able to easily make the decisions that we need to make on the day-to-day when we're designing these products.
I think that carries through. Like, I think it always goes back to what I said originally about listening. Where I don't mean just like listening, like you're listening to your students and their needs, and you're meeting them where they're at, essentially.
Yeah,
still.
absolutely. Yeah. So, James, as we're looking at, this bringing on new people, what would you, what would you want them to know? Like, what are the things that you want them to know for these new hires about who we are as a team?
I think the best thing that anybody ever told me at this job is how collaborative it is, and like you're never alone. I think there's like an instinct to silo yourself off and do things by yourself,
Yeah.
or just take things on by yourself when you're working at home. But there's always somebody to reach out to, and somebody's always looking after you. I don't know how many times people have called me to see if I'm okay, and I've never had a job or people were like, "James, are you okay?" They just kind of like let me not be okay for years and years.
Yeah.
But this job, there'll be projects where like we'll have a lot to do and I won't be okay.
Yeah.
But like somebody will always check on me and like, I'll get through the day
Cool.
and we'll get through the next project.
Cool.
I think that's
Good.
important.
Good. So, that's just a little bit about us and a little bit about what we do. James, I guess what is the goal of this podcast? Where do we go from here?
So for this introductory podcast, I think we kind of hit the goal. I just kind of tell people what we're about, what we do, what our kind of company has in store. For this podcast in general, in the future, we're going to be tackling all things edutech. So anything related to the industry, big things like AI looming in the horizon. We can do like 100 podcasts about AI. So maybe that.
Yeah, definitely instructional design. We want to hit. That's my bread and butter. Motivational theory, visual design, text-based design. Hopefully, you can get some controversial takes, some hot takes.
Yeah, I've got
some of that
instruction from higher ups that they wanted us to be more controversial for today. I don't know if we hit that, but I hope you enjoyed it regardless.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much, James, for taking the time. This is a great start. And man, you're just really easy to talk to. So this is going to be great.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.